All right, so today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, a kind of hidden geometry for your life that promises to cut through all the noise and help you zero in on what actually truly matters. So, I want to start with a question for you, and I want you to be honest. When you look at your days, your weeks, all the energy you're putting out there, is your life scattered or is it precise? I mean, really think about it for a second, because that answer is at the very heart of everything we're about to unpack. You know, what if progress wasn't just some random thing that happens? What if there was a hidden pattern, a kind of universal code for making things happen that you could find everywhere from nature to economics? So get this. You've got two totally different worlds that have stumbled upon a very similar principle for efficiency. On one side, you have economists. They call it the 80-20 law. And on the other, you've got artists, architects, even nature itself. They all follow a pattern called phi. They're like two different lenses, looking at the same powerful truth about what it means to be precise. Okay, let's start with the math side of things first. This is all about getting your head around something called the law of uneven returns and the absolutely crucial skill of finding your 20%. You might have heard of this. It's the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 law. And it's a simple, almost brutally honest idea that in pretty much any system, about 80% of your results are going to come from just 20% of your efforts. For example, Microsoft found out that by just fixing the top 20% of the most reported bugs, they could get rid of 80% of system crashes. This isn't just some business school trick. It's a fundamental law of how the world works. So look at this chart. That tiny little slice, that 20% of key efforts, is responsible for that huge 80% chunk of results. It's just a stark reminder that not all the work you do is created equal. A small, super focused input can create a massive, totally disproportionate output. Now, this next part might sound a little harsh, but just let it sink in for a second. Most of what you do doesn't matter much. It sounds tough, right? But the source material argues that it's also incredibly liberating. It means you can stop trying to do everything. You just have to do the right things. And this is so important to get. The problem for most of us isn't that we're lazy. It's not a lack of hard work. It's that our work is scattered all over the place. We're throwing energy at 100 different things, just hoping one of them works out. The source calls this the physics of focus. It's all about narrowing that beam of energy, not just cranking up the power. Okay, so that's the math, right? The cold, hard numbers. But now let's talk about the design of power. This is where phi comes into play. It's like nature's own blueprint for building things with real strength and stability. So this is it. This is phi, sometimes called the golden ratio. It's this very specific kind of wild number, about 1.618, and this one number shows up everywhere, like a signature, shaping patterns of strength and beauty all around us, and even inside of us. And you're probably thinking, okay, a number, so what? Well, you see it everywhere. It's in the massive, spiraling shape of galaxies, and in the tiny, perfect curve of a seashell. It dictates how branches grow from a tree to get the most sunlight. And get this, it's even in the proportions of the very bones in your hand. It's a universal pattern for strong, efficient design. So what does this mean for us, practically? Well, it's about balance through focus. Think about the difference between a light bulb and a laser. A light bulb scatters light everywhere. It lights up the room, sure, but it has very little impact. A laser takes that same amount of energy and focuses it into one coherent beam with incredible power. Phi is the model for that laser beam. It's about energy spiraling from a strong center instead of just leaking out in every direction. Okay, so this is where it all comes together. This is where the theory becomes a tool you can actually use. It's all about the discipline of reduction, where the math of 80-20 finally meets the design of phi. This is how these two big ideas work as a team. The 80-20 rule gives you efficiency by forcing you to eliminate stuff. It's your filter for identifying waste. And then phi gives you alignment through focus. It shows you how to structure the energy you have left. So one tells you what to focus on, and the other shows you how to focus. And this brings us to the core action, and it's a total mindset shift. See, most of us think that strength comes from adding more projects, more meetings, more stuff. But this whole framework argues the complete opposite. Real strength, real power, comes from carving away everything that is non-essential. So, what's the game plan? It really boils down to this simple but not easy 3-step process. Number 1, you have to find your vital 20%. the habits, the people, the principles that actually build your life. 2, you have to guard that 20% ruthlessly. And 3, you have to actively, constantly carve away the noise, that other 80% that's just a distraction. All right, let's wrap this all up and bring it back to you, because this isn't just some cool abstract theory. It's a blueprint for rebuilding your life with precision. It's about creating your own personal geometry. So here's the entire framework, laid out super simply. The math is the 80-20 law. That's what helps you identify what's important. The design is Phi. That gives you the model for how to focus your energy. But the most important part, the part that makes it all work, is the tool. And that tool is your discipline. That's what puts it all into action. And look, this isn't just theory. The author of the source material shares this really powerful personal note. I've watched a few deliberate choices rebuild an entire life from the dirt up. That just shows you the real-world power of this stuff. It's proof that just a few precise, focused choices can have a monumental impact, no matter where you happen to be starting from. So I'm going to leave you with this one final question to chew on. Take a hard, honest look at your life, your work, your relationships, your health. What is the vital 20% that, if you truly guarded it and focused on it with precision, could change absolutely everything for you?